John, I'm not sure I can let you hang around my kids anymore.
What? Why?
Well, Preston's getting to that point where he's going to get a driver's license here in a couple of months, like his actual full driver's license, not
God,
the
that's hard
permit.
to believe.
I know, he's getting old. And, of course, he's getting car crazy. Mm-hmm. And so he's looking at all these different cars for sale and trucks. And
I think I might know where you're going with this.
Yeah, he's looking at Jeep XJs right now.
Sweet. I got some parts.
Yeah, well, you probably won't give them to him. You'll probably be like, all right, Uncle John can,
They don't sell it, there is.
All right, that's fair enough. But yeah, no, he started out with looking at the International Scouts.
Nice.
And then he went to some Suburbans and Blazers and all sorts of different, big full-size rigs. And then he's now looking at the Jeep XJ Cherokee. So
excellent.
I got to say I'm proud of the kid.
Oh, yeah.
He's taking an interest in the four-wheel world. And so,
nice.
Maybe he's going to end up with something pretty cool.
More important question.
What's that?
What trans is he looking at?
Well, I haven't taught him to drive manual yet. And
what's wrong with you?
Well, the only manual that we have run quote unquote running right now is Project FJ60.
Okay.
And the rear axle's blown up, so I need to get that put back.
Step on it, man.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I know.
How's he gonna pass his road test with an automatic?
I don't think they make you drive a manual during your road test anymore.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's not 1962 anymore.
I mean, I wasn't even born yet, so
I know.
I can't speak. I did mine in a 4-door car, both of them.
Both of your road tests?
Yeah, I didn't do so hot on the first one.
Oh man, really?
Yeah. Well, I had never driven in the city at that part, not that part of the city, and there were just a couple signs I wasn't used to, and I was very nervous. And
like speed limit and stop?
No, so I was in a left lane to make a left turn. And the light turned green, so I went. But there was oncoming traffic.
Did you total the driver's ed car?
No. It was my own car. Well, my mom's car.
Did you total that car?
No. The instructor yelled at me and I stopped. I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was really stressed out. I'm sorry. And I didn't do so hot on the parallel parking.
Well, you do have a driver's license now, I hope, right?
Oh, yeah. I passed the second test. No problem.
Okay. All right. That's good.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange, broadcasting from the Thin Line Off-Road Studio. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
So I gotta ask, Keith, why is there a rock on your table? Or a piece of a rock?
What?
There's a piece of rock on your table here. What's up with that?
We were out of town last week on a family vacation to rural Ohio where we rented a really cool Airbnb barn that had been converted to a house. I'm assuming it came from that.
Oh. So you stole from the
Are you
B&B.
sure that's a rock? That kind of looks like the top of a skull.
I don't want to know. Never mind. Moving on.
I saw
nothing.
I don't think I've ever. That's a really good. Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
That's weird.
Moving on from the evidentiary discussion. This will be People's Exhibit A.
Yeah. So moving on. John, we've been doing this 4x4 news section. And, we haven't really put a name to it. I was kind of thinking like World of Wheelin' or something like that. Do you have any other ideas for the 4x4 news
I just thought we'd call it In the News.
In the News?
Yeah.
We can stick with something like that. I think that probably the number one thing that we need to mention, and honestly, this hit my heart very, very hard today. And I'm sure you heard as well that the television personality / awesome 4x4 builder / awesome 4x4 racer, Jessi Combs passed away.
I did hear about that. Very unfortunate.
Yeah. I gotta. She is really one of my true 4x4 idols, and where that came from is she used to do that TV show on Spike. Where they,
Extreme 4x4?
Yeah.
I loved that show. Whenever I could watch it, I did.
So did I. I don't know if that was her first show. I don't know enough about like her history as a personality to know if that was her first foray into some sort of broadcasting.
Yeah.
But I started watching that show. I think that show premiered, I read just a little while ago, like around 2005.
That long ago. Wow.
Yeah, that was only a couple of years into my conversion from the hot rod world going over to the 4x4 world. So the car world to the 4x4 world. And I found that show and I watched it pretty religiously back in the day.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day, people saying that, she was just a pretty face for them to put behind a camera. But pretty quickly it was realized that she was involved with all kinds of racing. She was involved with King of Hammers. She was
Just to say, didn't she help with King of the Hammers in the beginning, if I remember right?
I believe she did.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I know she was involved and she took places in various King of Hammers
Nice.
events. She was involved with the Race of Gentlemen, which is where they race the vintage motorcycles and vintage cars.
Nice.
And really you could go down through a whole list of dozens and dozens of different motorsports events she's been involved in. And she did pass away attempting to break a land speed record with a jet-powered car, over 500 miles an hour. So
That's unfortunate.
only 36 years old.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so
Never good.
No, that's a huge thing in the news. I'm thinking it's a little too soon to try to do a whole episode about her, but I'm thinking in the future we should maybe do an episode about a lot of her achievements.
I didn't realize how widespread she was in this world, so it'd be awesome to learn some more about that.
Yeah, I think it would be good. But, the Combs family and friends of Jessi Combs, it's just terrible loss, and, our condolences.
Absolutely.
I guess moving on from that, and that is hard to move on from, but... we've got a few different things going on with the podcast itself. We do have a Wheelin' email account now.
Oh, okay.
And that's info@wheelinradio.com.
Yep.
So if you have any interest in emailing us, comments about the show, questions about the show, feel free to do that. It's Wheelin', no G, so WHEELIN info@wheelinradio.com. So no G, info@wheelinradio.com. And, you're always giving me updates on Project XJ.
Yeah.
I saw on 4x4 Talk, you're doing some more work. What's going on with that?
Well, right now, it's done on all four wheels. All the front suspension's done. So I got the shocks installed, all the new coil spacers, isolators, bump stop stuff. Lower control arms in the subframe. So the next step now, I've got to get the new transmission in, get the mounts and all that done. I can start getting all the engine electronics hooked back up, the front end back together, radiator, all that fun stuff. And then I've got a little bit more body work to do, a little more work with suspension in the rear, and it'll be ready to fire up. So I'm very excited.
Is it still going to make Wheels in the Woods, you think?
It will. It's definitely not going to make that first September 1st deadline that I originally had. My very first deadline my personal deadline for this was the 28th to make Wheels in the Woods. So there's a definite possibility on that. I'm going to have to make a few more delays on some things. Just stuff I'm going to have to put off a little bit longer. Nothing that affects the run and drivability of it. Just makes it less off-road durable for now. But it's all stuff that's still in the works. Just to get that goal, I'm going to have to hold off on a few extra things.
I understand that completely. I do. So, speaking of personal projects, we've talked a little bit about my FJ60, and we kind of put a a name challenge out there a while ago.
I've seen a couple of them popping up in the news feeds.
I'm going to go over a few of those in a little bit when we
Okay.
kind of talk about what our topic is today. But continuing on for the news, or at least talking about that, the Project FJ60, besides the name challenge, I haven't touched. I haven't done anything with it, but I did start a new project of sorts.
Okay.
The Excursion I drive every day.
Yeah.
Is finally going to go under the knife and receive probably some updates and a little bit of a build to it.
Nice. Very cool. What you planning to do?
Well, okay, so this whole thing started with a buddy of mine stopped by the museum the other day, and we're talking for a little bit, and he mentions to me that he is looking for a Super Duty Dana 50 front end to cut up to build a hybrid axle. He's going to be doing. He's already got a Dana 44 that he's got the Jana 44 Jantz Engineering kit in, which puts it's like the high pinion or something. Maybe not a high pinion, but it puts the ring and pinion out of a JK Dana 44 into the older one.
Interesting.
A little bit bigger ring and pinion.
I was just going to ask, is it a spline count difference or something on the carrier?
I think it's a physical ring gear size difference
okay.
too.
Nice.
So he's doing that, and he wants to build it with Dana 50 or even 60, which is the same thing with the Super Duties. He wants the outers.
Nice.
So I said, well, man, I've got a Dana 60, 04 Dana 60. Front end sitting in the shop that I have been meaning forever to put under the Excursion to get rid of the Dana 50, which gives me the true 35 spline axle shafts.
Nice.
Does a lot of other things. I also have a set of X-Code springs, which are from an F350, but would do a essentially factory lift of the Excursion of about
Nice.
2.5 to 3 inches.
Nice.
So
Kind of a two birds with one stone thing here.
yeah.
Nice.
So I got talking to him, and he's got a hoist over at his shop right now, and I'm hoistless right now.
I understand. I've never had one.
So yeah. So
It's that's fun.
so he said he's like, well, you can come use the hoist, and I said, well, tell you what. I said, you give me a hand, and pulling out the Dana 50 and swapping the new springs and the Dana 60 into the front of the Excursion. And you can just have the Dana 50 that's in it.
Sweet.
And he's like, deal.
I'd say it sounds like a great deal to me.
So within a couple of weeks, hopefully the Excursion's going to be doing that.
Awesome.
I am looking at a set of 37-inch tires for it tomorrow. To fit those, I'd probably have to do a little fender cutting. And it's got rust anyways.
Just take a hammer, self-clearance. Or just take it on a off-road down one of those dirt roads that they haven't graded in like 6 years.
Or just drive it on a Michigan road.
Yeah, or that. I mean, you don't want to tweak the frame now. Come on.
Yeah, so I don't have a name for this project yet, but the Excursion's going to be getting some work.
Sweet.
So, also in 4x4 news, a few more things about the Wheelin' podcast. We have a Patreon account now.
Oh, right. I remember discussing that.
So if you go to patreon.com and you just type in Wheelin' Radio, I did notice earlier I was looking us up. We're already on there.
Nice.
But if you type in Wheelin', it doesn't always pop up under the suggested things right away. But if you start to type in Wheelin' and then you put in radio, the podcast comes up.
Nice.
And people can access our End of the Trail show.
Very cool.
So that's through the Patreon account. So that's some good news that's up now, and it is up now.
Awesome.
So you can go as little as $2 a month, and you can be a supporter there. And
Very cool.
now, John, what are they going to get for their $2 plus a month?
Well, like I said, they get access to the after show. So End of the Trail. So there's a lot of information that we don't either have time to discuss during our show or just bonus stuff that we remember to discuss during that. And then just general relaxing, kind of joking conversation, winding down after we do the show.
Yeah, so it's a great cause, and it helps to support new equipment purchases,
Absolutely.
keep the show going. We got lots of plans for the future.
Oh, yeah. As we grow, the equipment needs to change with us, continue the, upgrading of audio quality so everything sounds good for everybody. And eventually, I know we discussed doing some like how-to videos, equipment reviews, things like that. So with a little bit more equipment, we'd be able to record some of that stuff and actually get it up on YouTube for people.
Sure. And that's, so, for as little as $2 a month, it's a great deal.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps, too.
A little bit more, we'll send you some swag. There's different levels. Just look at it and see what's best for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Really is gonna be
Anything
best.
you can do helps.
Continuing on through 4x4 News, this is, we've been doing our trivia contests. A couple episodes back, we did a contest where we were asking for what the manual transmission was, the only manual transmission that ever came in the ZJ Cherokee. Mm-hmm. And we only had one correct answer.
Yep.
And that was a Mr. Riley Winters.
Absolutely.
So, congratulations, Riley Winters. You've won stuff from us before. We're going to be sending you out a Thin Line Off-Road t-shirt this time. So thank you very much for playing. And, congratulations there.
Absolutely.
The answer. John, what was the answer? It was the engine and transmission combination.
I don't remember the engine, but I know it was the AX-15.
Okay, and it was only available behind the 4-liter straight six.
Yeah, I thought it was that. I couldn't remember for some reason, though.
Yeah, you couldn't get the AX-15 behind anything but the 4-liter straight six. You couldn't get it behind the 318 or the 360.
So what you're saying is we need to build a 360 with an AX-15 then?
It's been done before, but it would be pretty cool.
That would be sweet.
So
if I find one ever, maybe I'll do that.
Exactly. I would love to do it. Maybe one of those 360, the 98 only, where they have the vents in the hood.
Oh yeah, it'd be the full package. That would be awesome.
Cool. One last bit of 4x4 news here, and this came in as kind of a last minute thing as well. I was talking. That I'm buddies with Chad over at QuickDraw Brand, right?
Yeah, nice guy.
Yeah, and you've met him before too. I've known him for many years.
Awesome shop.
So I'm talking to Chad over the phone the other day, and he starts telling me about this package deal that he's going to be offering or is offering. By the time this podcast launches, which will be...
Buy an adapter, he installs it?
That would be nice.
That would be.
But, so get this. He is offering a package deal for... Now, specifically, the first one he's offering is the R2.8 Cummins brand new engine with a brand new Tremec TR4050 5-speed transmission.
Okay.
And the brand new QuickDraw Brand adapter, bell housing, clutch, fork. He'll even throw in motor mounts if you want them. They're not vehicle specific, so the ones you have to modify to your vehicle. The entire package for $11,200. Now, I know, no, hang on, that seems like a lot of money.
I was actually going to say that doesn't sound bad at all.
Well, exactly. So you if you look at the suggested retail of all of those parts, now I said this to Chad when he told me that price. And I said, wait a minute, Chad. I go, the retail price of all of these parts, it's not adding up. I said, you're not making any money. And he goes, no, I know I'm not. And I said, wait a minute. I says, you're essentially giving away actually the manufacturer cost on a couple of these products. And I says, you're taking a loss. And he goes, yeah, I know that. And I says, well, that doesn't make sense for business. He goes, listen, Keith, he goes, here's what's going on. He goes, we got a couple big events going on. And he goes, we've got Overland Expo East coming up, and we have the SEMA show coming up. And he goes, and I want to see QuickDraw Brand products in as many builds as possible. He goes, so I am selling this whole thing at cost. He goes, I'm not making a penny on any of it. He goes, I says, dude, you're crazy. I says, how could you do that? And he's like, man, he goes, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be on Instagram. It's gonna be on Facebook. People are gonna show the products, and he's apparently going to even offer less of a price on that than the $11,200 if you pay with cash check or a wire transfer or things like that.
I like it. I got to find a project to put one in and get $11,000.
Yeah, well, there's that. But if you want to go even cheaper, he has other engine and transmission combinations using even like used engines like the 4BT or the 3.9 Common Rail. He's got a bunch of different options. Or if he's running the 2.8, with a different transmission, and he's selling it as a whole. So essentially, it's a drop-in deal.
Yeah, I like it.
So you drop in the whole drivetrain right into whatever project you're doing, and I don't know how anybody else is going to beat these prices.
Yeah.
And I know I kind of probably sound like a used car salesman right now, but that was honestly
You're not a used car salesman. It's all new.
Yeah. It's all new stuff.
Yeah.
And this was honestly shocking to me. I'm like,
yeah.
I was doing the math in my head, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like,
I assume this is going to be a very limited time offer.
Until SEMA.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
He's going to be offering it until SEMA, which is in October.
Gotcha.
So that's only 2 months.
Yeah.
And, and I was talking to him, and I'm thinking, the Cummins engine, that's like $9,000 or something. I don't know the exact price on them these days. The new transmission's a couple grand. The QuickDraw parts that he makes are, $700-800. I'm like, you're just giving this away, dude.
Yeah.
So kind of cool.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
He's packaging it all together. And
that's awesome.
So that's kind of a neat thing in the 4x4
nice complete
news.
package swap.
I think that was everything in the news. Is there anything else going on in 4x4 news right now that you know about?
Nothing I can think of offhand.
This was a long 4x4 news section, but why don't we take a quick break? And when we come back, let's talk about some of the other things that are going on.
Sounds good. See you in a bit.
Puppies are cute. Spiders are not. Spiders are creepy and ugly, but what will you do? You will call ABC Home and Commercial Services. The Spider Fighters can service your home for these unwelcome guests. ABC Spider Fighters will provide the solution for your spiders, wasps, box elder bugs, Asian lady beetles, cluster flies, and all your visiting insects. Call now for a prepaid discount. ABC Home and Commercial, the Spider Fighters. 810-794-5678.
And welcome back. I am Keith Kodet of Thin Line Off-Road, and sitting across from me is Johnny Orange. Before we went to break, John, we were doing a whole bunch of 4x4 news.
Oh, we were.
But, we need to also start doing a little bit of news about the Museum of Offroad Adventure, with both you and I and producer Andrew are all involved in.
We are indeed.
And I hear that the museum's got a little bit of news, a couple things going on right now. What's going on with the museum right now, John?
Well, in the museum minutes, we do have some openings for vehicles to display.
Yeah, a couple of spots have opened up. We had some vehicles on long-term loan that have now gone back to their owners or their other displays that they were in. So we have a few spots. We are looking for all sorts of different vehicles, if it's historically interesting or even if it's something
cool and unique.
Yeah, cool and unique. We'd love to have a rock crawler in there, a monster truck,
I've
mud
got a line
truck.
on a sandrail.
I think we need it.
We can probably arrange that. What you doing this weekend? Well, I'm working, so.
You just let me know.
We'll get it there.
Yeah. What else is going on at the museum right now, John?
Well, we have been really active using the Amazon Smile. So for those who don't know, Amazon has a sort of sub-site they call smile.amazon.com. And a portion of every purchase from Amazon goes towards the nonprofit organization of your choice. In our case, the Moore Museum. So me personally, whenever I'm buying anything on Amazon, I'll go through the app or the website, put it in my shopping cart, and then you go to your web browser, type smile.amazon.com. Brings you up to the same website. It just says Smile in the corner. Same login. Everything stays exactly the same. It's just when you go to that checkout process, a little portion of that goes towards the museum.
And it doesn't cost...
no, there's no extra cost to the end user.
Yeah.
It's just a little something they do to help out nonprofit organizations. It takes a minute the first time to set it up, but you search the Moore Museum, M-O-R-A.
It's actually under the Museum of Offroad Adventure. They have to type the whole thing in there.
My bad.
So type in Museum of Offroad Adventure, and it'll come up. I do all my Amazon purchasing through Smile to support the museum
I've got
as
everyone
well.
in my family. My dad does some tractor rebuilds for friends of the family and a couple old tractors of ours. My brother's always buying stuff for his Jeep and other projects. So I've gotten everybody to start using that now.
Well, thank you, John.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Anyone who uses Amazon, it doesn't cost you a dime extra to do this.
It's real easy to do it, too. It doesn't take any extra time. You'll spend a minute or two the first time to set it up. And then after that, it's just the only extra time is to type smile.amazon.
Yeah, smile.amazon.com.
Yep.
And, that's actually a really cool thing that Amazon's doing where they're donating to all these nonprofits.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, because the Mora is so near and dear to our hearts, we hope that you choose that. But
Oh, for sure.
if you decide not to, every time you use Amazon, choose one of the nonprofits that they donate to.
Switch it up.
Make your purchases worthwhile.
Yeah, a lot of these organizations don't have a lot of money coming in or a regular stream to help maintain what they're doing to help people. So every little bit in that case helps.
For sure. Yeah, that's a great way to raise money for these organizations. So use smile.amazon.com. And if you're so inclined, please make your purchases go to the Museum of Offroad Adventure.
That would be awesome.
And we have one other thing going on with the museum. There's a new-ish Facebook group that the museum...
Yeah, we were talking about that. It's just type 4x4 Museum on Facebook, and it'll pull it up.
Yeah, I think that's got a lot of vintage pictures.
Yeah.
You can join it. You can post anything you want about older 4x4 stuff.
I'll be on there tonight. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, it's just kind of starting out. There's a few people that like it already, and when you go to
place to congregate, talk, post cool stuff.
Yeah, it's a little different than 4x4 Talk. 4x4 Talk's more about the enthusiast end of things. 4x4 Museum is more about the history of some of these vehicles.
I like it.
So if you're interested in going on there, check out 4x4 Museum. Same thing with 4x4 Talk. Both of those Facebook groups will offer, or they'll ask for your email address. You don't have to give it to them, but if you do, they'll offer maybe special events and things a couple times a year. Would never sell your email information. So,
and for more information on the More, you can always go to the More Museum on Facebook too. See more of the updates, special events that we have coming up, new pieces in there. So you'll get most up-to-date information on the Wheels in the Woods.
Yeah, we got Wheels in the Woods coming up, which, of course, we didn't even mention this time, but we need to plug it. That's September 28th. And
yep, hopefully it's on track. I think Project XJ will be there. It won't be 100%, but she'll be there.
And for our listeners who don't know what Wheels in the Woods is, that is a parking lot, not parking lot, but it's a parked show. It's a show and shine type show for your four-wheel drive and off-road vehicles. So this is not a wheeling event. No. This is something where you can bring your vehicle out. It's very family-friendly. Think of a car show for 4x4s. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
And this year there's going to be some Power Wheels racing for the little kids.
20 different classes for awards, too.
Yeah, and the awards last year were really cool looking, too.
I've got my heart set on that ugly duckling.
Actually, Project FJ60 won that last year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this is competition here?
Yeah, a little bit. See which one of the wheeling hosts has got the ugliest vehicle.
I like it. So if I just throw mine on a flatbed, I think I got this in the bag.
Oh, man.
I'm going to stop working on it.
Here's the
I'm not going to actually do that.
Yeah. Here's the cool part about Wheels in the Woods, which, of course, is put on by the Museum of Offroad Adventure. And the whole board had voted back when they did this show the first time last year that instead of like the typical car show where they have, celebrity judges or judges that are people from the community that, local politicians or whatever. Wheels in the Woods is 100% judged by the participants.
That's great, but with no politicians to judge, I can't buy anyone off.
Oh, well, there's a problem there, but
I could put free stickers in there maybe.
Every single person that comes in, I say the door, there's not a door, but every single person that comes onto the grounds at Wheels in the Woods gets a voting sheet. In reason. We're involved. But, obviously we're not handing them to 2-year-olds. But anyone that has the ability to read these and vote for them, the kids do get to vote. We had a number of 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds that voted last year.
Nice.
And the families loved it.
Cool.
Walking around, being able to vote for these different awards.
Nice.
So
I'll definitely be there this year too. Last year I couldn't make it, unfortunately, but I will be there this year.
I'm counting on you, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm counting on you. But yeah, it's 100% voted by the public. 100%.
Sweet.
So,
And
hopefully
just
you
for
come out.
those who are active police, fire, military, or first responders, you get in for free.
Yeah, just bring your ID.
Absolutely.
And do that. We always appreciate your service. So do that.
For sure.
So a few minutes ago, John, we were talking a lot. We were talking a lot about the Facebook pages.
Right.
And the Facebook groups. Part of our topic today that we had discussed was are Facebook groups the place to be for information regarding your four-wheel drive and your hobbyist vehicles and really any other hobby you have?
I think that's where it's going. I remember the days of the forums when they were huge, and there's still some good resources out there, but I've just noticed they seem to be a dying field.
They do.
It's very unfortunate.
In forums, there may be listeners that don't even know what a forum is.
That makes me feel old.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I would venture a guess that if you're sub 23 years old, you may not know what a forum is. Early 2000s, the way to get information on the internet from the general public was through a forum. A forum was a web page you would join. You would go on. You'd be a member. You might have a username on it.
Message board.
A message board.
Yeah.
And you'd type information in. You'd start a topic, and they'd call it a thread. And underneath the thread, there would be all these various comments and responses from other people who chimed in.
God, I remember spending hours a day going through all the different ones I used to use.
And that was part of the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Was anyone could start a forum for anything.
Oh, yeah.
You might have a forum for 4x4 trucks or off-roading, but you might also have a forum for people who like weaving baskets with their left hand.
What's wrong with that?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Not that I've ever done that.
But it made it, the information would be out there, but you had to find the site to get to it.
Yeah, that could be a challenge sometimes. I spent many, many, many hours going through forums and different ones, and to read this, you have to join kind of thing. So I'm a member on a lot of different stuff that I never really used, and some of it I haven't even seen updates since I've posted years ago.
That's very true. I personally used to be very active on probably 6 to 8 forums. Mm-hmm. And I'm probably a member or was a member. They may have cleaned me out of the system at this point because of my inactivity on maybe another 20 forums.
Oh, wow.
Mostly 4x4 forums and car forums.
Yeah.
That's what I was into. But they are a dying breed. I will give you that. They are 100% a dying breed. But I think there might be a renaissance coming.
I'm okay with that.
My reasoning behind this really, this idea didn't come to myself. I was listening to, and I'm going to do a little shout out there. There is a podcast called the Podcastification Show.
Okay.
And on Podcastification, the guy talks about how to produce a podcast and how to make your content for your listeners engaging and things like that. And it's a pretty valuable show. I haven't listened to every episode,
but I'm doing the opposite of what we do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are making every mistake there probably is, but
I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah.
We'll blame Keith for that.
Nice. I think we blame producer Andrew.
Oh, I second that. It deflects both of us.
Okay, exactly.
And he doesn't have a mic this week to respond. Of course, he could just turn us off.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry, Andrew. I didn't mean it.
Well, he said on the guy on Podcastification the other day said that the beauty of forums was that the information was there because Google today can find it. Yeah. So that information from 10, 15, 20 years ago, maybe not 20 years ago, but that information is infinitely Googleable and searchable, where Facebook groups
Yeah.
are not.
No, and that is very irritating to me.
Myself as well.
I've got a lot of custom off-the-wall stuff that I do that's hard to find information sometimes on. And that's why inevitably I just figure it out for myself. It just takes me 4 times longer to do it.
And, probably anyone that's listening here knows what a Facebook group is.
Oh, yeah. I hope.
But if not, Facebook groups are similar to the old forums where there's Facebook groups for, people who weave baskets with their left hand. And there's Facebook groups for
Ones who do it with
4x4
their right hand.
Yeah, there you go. 4x4 museums and 4x4 podcasts. But the problem with those groups is you join the group and searching information within the group is kind of difficult.
It very much so can be. I've even tried to find stuff of mine on some of these pages, and the search just doesn't work. I mean, it's just frustrating trying to find stuff on there sometimes.
And people who have been on these groups and value these groups get a little surly when the newbie comes in and asks a question that's been asked 35 times already.
Oh, I remember seeing that back in the forum days.
Well, it happens in the forums too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it gets very convoluted, or people just don't know where the search feature is.
Yeah.
I've had that on more than enough forums.
That happens.
Oh, yeah.
But, the beauty of the forums is it was this long form format where you can go down through it and you can find different things that you're looking for and then look at all of the responses. It's similar to what a Facebook group is.
Oh, yeah.
But the Google spiders and whatever you laugh.
I've never heard that term before.
That's
Google
what called.
spiders.
You never heard of a Google spider?
I have not.
They're little spiders that they send out electronically to go through a whole website and look for information for
Keyword
keywords.
searches.
Yeah,
Okay.
keyword searches.
That makes
Google
sense.
spiders. You never heard that before.
Oh, well, I have to.
I hope I'm not making that up. I've heard that before. So
It's inevitable a slang term becomes a real word at some point.
yeah. Well, anyway, so they're looking for this information. So you go on to Google and you say, okay, I'm looking for information.
OM617 swap.
There, perfect example, John. So you look up OM617 swap. You're going to get a bunch of posts from old forums and maybe new forums.
Yep.
You're going to get maybe some YouTube videos, but you're not going to get anything from Facebook.
No, not at all.
And so even though there might be a lot of people on Facebook that are pros at this, the forums are going to have the information that is there.
And some of that I could speak to why. So a lot of the groups on Facebook, you can make them private or not public. So what that does is it helps keep it so just the enthusiasts are in there, but they've got to know where and how to find it. And like you said, it's not searchable unless you're there. So if you don't know about the page, you get zero access to any of that information.
Exactly. That's the problem there.
Yeah, the forum you can search. You might need to join the forum to see some of the content or to see the pictures.
To interact.
Yeah, but you can see a lot of that information or have access to it to see if you want to continue going there. That's how I found a lot of the forums I'm on, was searching stuff like that, and it's like, oh, they have information on this. Oh, wow, there's this and this and this. I'm going to join.
And it's, like I said before, it's kind of lasting information.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing.
True.
For example, today, I get a call from some random number, middle of the day.
Are
and
they trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty?
For once, they weren't.
Oh, wow.
They weren't trying to sell me health insurance either.
Was it the washing machine warranty?
I haven't gotten that one yet.
Oh, just wait.
So this guy calls me and he's like, yeah, I'm calling about the camper you have for sale. And I'm like, camper? I don't have a camper for sale. He's like, oh, yeah, you got a Coachman slide-in camper, blah, blah, blah. And he starts rattling off all the details of a camper that I sold in 2004. And I'm like, whoa. I go, where did you find this thing? And he's like, well, I was Googling for that exact model, blah, blah, blah. And I found your post, they have one for sale. And I says, how old is this? And he says, oh, yeah.
See, now that guy should have seen that first. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yes.
I get it. Admittedly, it's happened to me. But as soon as I realized that, that was from 2012, it's like, yeah, I'm either not going to get a response or that's long gone.
Yeah, well, you and I know this.
True.
But some people don't.
Yeah.
But the information's there. So here's the value that I see in forums in the 4x4 community. Build threads.
Oh, yeah.
Build threads continue this group of pictures and conversation regarding what they're doing with the vehicle. And there's actually several points that we need to touch on about build threads, but I'm kind of thinking that we should talk about that after the break.
Sounds good to me. I need another beverage anyways.
Perfect.
See you in a bit.
Hey, it sounds like it's time to swap out that old engine for something better, John.
Yeah, man, but I have so much into my trans and transfer case set up already. I don't want to change those too.
Sounds like you need to call QuickDraw Brand adapters. They specialize in conversion bell housings for nearly all diesel and gasoline engines, including the new 2.8R Cummins.
I like weird engines. I want something different.
Then you definitely need to visit QuickDrawBrand.com today. They have those hard-to-find parts. They also have used diesel engines available. You can call them at 513-446-9654.
Cool, I'll do that. See what they have. Thanks. Welcome back to Wheelin'. I'm Keith and Johnny Orange. Just before the break, we were talking about what, Keith?
Well, forums and Facebook and, the benefits of build threads on forums.
I miss those.
Yeah, well, okay, so I put out on Facebook. What's Facebook?
I don't know yet. Copyright Wheelin' 2019.
I love it. I put out on Facebook that we were looking for a name for the brown FJ60 that I wheel.
How about the chicken?
The chicken?
I don't know.
That's your name?
Yeah.
The chicken. Well, we do have some names. I mean, all right. Before we go back onto build threads, let's talk about some of the names.
Okay.
These are the ones so far. Now, we haven't run any of these by the fiance so far.
Gotcha.
In reality, when I started building that thing with a build thread, I did actually call it the Brat Pack FJ60 because we have so many kids.
Oh, you'd have to just call it the Brat Pack.
The Brat Pack.
Yeah, something short and simple.
Okay. So that was a name that I had given it that I kind of forgot that I gave it. There's going to be a couple shout-outs now.
Okay.
There's going to be our shout-outs in this episode.
Sounds good.
A guy named Al DeGangi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says we call it Betty. I don't know what that comes from. Somebody else said the Brown Bomber. And Justin Wagner. I
remember him.
You remember him?
Yeah.
He wants to call it Toy Story. I think that Disney owns that.
Yeah. We are in no way affiliated with
Vintress
Disney or
Garage says we need to call it Deliverance.
Ooh.
I'm not sure why. Is it that creepy looking?
I don't know, but you don't have a banjo, do you?
No, but I can play it on a guitar.
Oh, nice.
Todd Side says that we need to call it Bodie McBoatface. Sorry, Todd. The Navy already named one of their vessels that.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Pfeiffer says that we need to name it Applejack or Scootaloo.
I like Applejack. It seems like you need to paint it green or something, though, if you're going to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not bad.
I don't know, bad. I haven't heard any yet that are just really jump.
That or I like Brat Pack.
Brat Pack. You like my original Brat Pack one?
I do. I think there's always something to be said for it.
We're going to go back to the name thing in a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll mention you how Pegasus got its name.
Well, tell me now.
Later.
I want to know how Pegasus got its name.
Oh, no, I'm going to make you wait.
Okay, make me wait.
Back to forums.
So back to forums. Something I learned, and this, like I said, this is part of the podcastification thing, and I'm doing a shout out to those guys. They're not paying us to talk about them or anything. Just they have a lot of helpful information. It's great. You want to make your own podcast. If you listen to Wheelin' and you want to make a podcast about 4x4s, great. You can be our competitor. If you want to make a podcast about vintage Porsches or planting tulips.
Porsche.
Porsche. Oh, okay. There you go. You want to do that? Listen to Podcastification. Great show.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, I know you love that word, Andrew, the producer. But anyways, we say it too much. But going back to the benefit of the forums, one of the things that I kind of figured out through the Podcastification along with some research is naming a vehicle and then having a build thread about that vehicle with this special cool name allows it to be findable by people who are looking to find that build thread.
Yes. There's one in particular on a forum I'm on. I believe he just calls it the frog build.
The frog build. So you can Google probably the frog build and find his build.
That dude's done some cool stuff to that thing over the years, too.
So that's what I'm talking about. That's why forums, there's a beauty to naming a vehicle or having a neat name into something like that.
Yeah.
So that's why part of the reason, with all our cross connections, social media, and things like that, why we need to name all of our projects.
Yeah.
And maybe not all of them, but at least have something where people can find us.
Oh, yeah.
Because
good reference for yourself. Because years down the road, you get the Alzheimer's and the dementia set in. Maybe that keyword will spark a memory.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, that does run in my family. So
I remember that time I dropped the hammer on my toe.
Well, it makes it easy for our listeners so as well, though, if they find out, if they say, I want to find out about the Brat Pack FJ60, they can Google it and they can probably find one of the forums it's on.
I don't remember if I ever started one for Project XJ back in the day.
See, I still think it's too generic of a name.
Well, I don't have a name for it yet. So that one, the deal I made a long time ago when I got that is when it's done, my mom gets to name it. So I'm nervous.
And that's why it's taken you 13 years.
No, 10. It's probably going to be like the finally or thank God.
So after figuring this out about forums and naming vehicles, I have hit a renaissance period in my life. I'm going back to or reclaimed youth, whatever you want to call it. And I have become active in some of the forums I was in before.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Some of the large forums out there for the four-wheel drive world are still pretty active. There's a lot of them that have fallen to the wayside that if you go onto their forum, you look and the last post was 18 days ago.
Yeah.
But there's some that still have posts every few minutes. The largest one out there by far is pirate4x4.com.
I'm on there. I found a lot of good information on that over the years.
You're on there?
I am.
I didn't know that.
I'm on a lot of the big ones.
Okay, well, I was on Pirate years ago through a different username. I spent probably 30 minutes trying to figure out what that username was. I only had 3 or 4 usernames back in the day.
Yeah.
Whatever username combination, password combination, it was like you don't exist.
So I'd have to look if I knew you were on it at the time, you'd be on my friends list.
Well, you can take a look.
Man.
But we actually have I have a new username on Pirate.
Yeah.
Wheelin'. With
like
the
it.
little...
I'm going to write that down and add it later.
Yeah, it's Wheelin' and then with a little slash over the end. What's that called?
I don't know.
Okay.
The apostrophe?
Apostrophe? Wheelin' apostrophe? I think that's what it's called.
Know.
So,
yeah, sure.
So we're wheeling on there.
Okay.
And then another big one that I'm still active on, and I kind of go in phases whether I'm active or not, is called GreatLakes4x4.com.
Yep,
now I know
still on there.
You're familiar with that
I was on
one.
there yesterday.
And that's probably arguably the second largest four-wheel drive forum out there, and of course it's the Great Lakes region, so we know a lot of the people. We personally know a lot of the people on Great Lakes 4x4.
Had some good and bad dealings with that.
Yeah. Well, okay, there you go. So bad dealings. Pirate 4x4. I love Pirate.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, for a newbie, if there's a newbie out there listening and they're like, they want to get on Pirate,
Yeah.
you need thick skin to be on Pirate.
Yeah.
The guys on there, it's a very old crowd.
Yeah.
Not necessarily old in age, but some of them probably are.
Old school is probably the better phrase.
Old school, yeah. If
There
you
is a search feature on every page.
there is.
Find it and learn to use it.
Yeah. If you go on there and you say, I just bought a JK Wrangler, what's the largest tires I can fit without a lift? You are going to be, in the old school term, flamed.
Yes. Oh, God, I remember.
Remember that? You are going to be.
Forgot the terminology.
Yeah, flamed, which is that was the terminology where they're gonna taunt you relentlessly.
Now I think a common word would be roast you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So back then it was flame, now it's roast. They're gonna roast you to death. Oh, yeah. Take it, enjoy it. I've been getting a lot of flack on Pirate about my help me name the FJ60 thread.
I'm gonna have to find this.
Yeah, find it, John. Have some
look
fun
right
there. Our listeners can find that. You don't get distracted. Unfortunately, it gets pretty raw. Some people say some things that I don't necessarily agree with. I just ignore them. Whatever. Some of it's funny, some of it's not. But there's definitely a number of suggestions on there. One of them I can say, somebody wants to call it, I think, the brown streak. Because it's got the streak down the side of it, the dark brown streak.
I like it.
That one I'm kind of cool with.
I still like the Brat Pack though.
You still like the Brat Pack?
I really do.
So okay, there's something else about the forums versus Facebook. Is on Facebook, typically people have their profile set to their real name.
Yeah.
Forums, you're all usernames.
Yep.
You hide behind it.
And I will say one thing. Forums definitely do have moderation in the sense that people that go around and police some of the content that should not be there. However, it's nothing like what Facebook has. Facebook will outright delete stuff. So be warned, a lot of the forums have stuff that you may not want to read.
Yeah, forums are still the wild, wild west.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff on there that
Be prepared and don't get too offended.
It's not a safe space.
No, it's not.
So, but I think forums have a place. I'm going to try to start doing some build threads for some of the things I'm doing on forums again, especially Pirate, being how big they are and how many people still actively use Pirate.
Yeah.
Probably on Great Lakes 4x4 as well. There's a lot of other great forums. I know there's probably a half a dozen great forums for diesels. I know there's the Diesel Stop. There's the Power Stroke forum. There's the Smokestack. Mm-hmm. John, don't start reading those. Don't start reading those.
Not out loud.
Yeah, exactly. John,
join Pirate and find it. It's great.
Yeah. So you'll see that I know how to dish it back a little bit. So, that's really, there's benefits to both. Okay, so going back to the Facebook groups, on the Facebook groups tend to be very specific.
Yes.
So I'm on the Ford Excursion Club Facebook group. The Ford Excursion, we talked about them before years ago. I own a couple of them. Well, actually, I only own one. I sold the other one. But the Ford Excursion, they made, I don't know, 50, 60,000 of them. They didn't make a lot of them. But there's a cult following for them. And there's a lot of things about the Ford Excursion that only Ford Excursion owners that have owned them for a while have learned and they know.
Gotcha.
So, going on the Ford Excursion Club, most of the guys are really helpful, and even to a newbie. So if a newbie goes on there and says something like, I've got a sloppy shifter in my Excursion, chances are most of the people are going to go on there and say, okay, it's the two little bolts that are up behind the gauge cluster. They're Allen heads. Go up there, tighten them up, put some Loctite on them. Things like that.
Yeah.
They're pretty nice. So the groups are nice for that on Facebook. I'm on an International Scout group. I'm on Willie's group. Some of these things that I don't even know.
Think about it. Believe it or not, I'm actually on a Toyota page. Yeah, I know. Blasphemy.
Whoa. What Toyota? I'm on like almost every Toyota page.
I don't remember, but it was when I was trying to find a Toyota transmission for some parts I needed. I had to join. Somebody thought they had one, and unfortunately ended up not being the correct one.
You're on a...
I am.
Mr. Johnny the Jeep is on a Toyota page.
I am.
Wow. Yeah. See, Keith here. I have no brand loyalty. I have owned everything, and I equally love every brand and equally hate every brand. So, but John bleeds Jeep, and to find out he's on a Toyota page, that's just wow. I don't know what to do with that. Well, anyways, John, do you have any other, on this whole argument of whether Facebook groups or forums are better? Do you have any more input on that?
I mean, I've always liked forums.
Me too.
It gave me, like I said, something to do. But like you said, it's searchable. The Facebook is so hard to find information on sometimes. And the way they keep changing their search algorithm drives me nuts. I'll be looking something up one day, and then a week later it doesn't work.
Exactly.
It's incredibly frustrating, and I've gone back to forums. I mean, I never really left. It just slowed down a bit. But it's just so much easier to find information there. The problem is just it's not updated as frequently anymore.
That's very true. But you know what? Something we just almost breezed over, and I'm glad we didn't miss it because I was just thinking of it. Mm-hmm. For sale sections.
Oh, yeah. I use them a lot.
Facebook has Marketplace, and Marketplace is great. But the problem with Marketplace is Marketplace, for a 4x4 guy, if you're going in and you just want to browse, you're just clicking on the auto parts section. And so...
you get everything.
You get everything.
Yeah.
Or you have to specifically look for whatever. So let's say I'm looking for... Actually, I was doing this earlier today. I was looking for a locker for my Dana 60. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking Dana 60 locker. Well, however Facebook's algorithm is showing me literally like old gym lockers and I think some like gym shorts and things that I didn't want to see.
Yeah.
So forums, and then of course it also Marketplace will show you within 100 miles or so. Well, then you go, okay, well I got the Facebook groups. The Facebook groups aren't always a great buy and sell place.
Yeah.
There are, of course, some specialized groups. It'll be like, mid-Michigan, 4x4 parts for sale. I don't think that's a real one, but it's similar to one that I'm on.
Yeah.
So it'll be like mid-Michigan 4x4 parts for sale. Okay, that's great. Now I know they got stuff on there, but it's still going to be just everything. It's like a garage sale.
Oh, yeah.
Where on the forums... even though the forum might be a national forum, some of them are regional forums, there's different sections, axles for sale, tires for sale, things like that.
Yeah.
You can go down through, you can scroll through it. Typically they mark when it's sold. I think forums for sale sections are a heck of a lot better than anything they have on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. You can put more pictures up. When somebody asks a question, it goes out to everybody to see the response.
True.
Which is great. If you forgot to put a detail in, somebody asks, what's the measurement of this? Well, you put it in. Only that guy sees it. So on the forum, everybody sees it. It's great.
Yeah, and for the in the for sale section there, speaking of which, I've been looking for tires for the Excursion build for probably 2 months now. And I've been looking at Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Craigslist. I've had no luck. Where did I find a set? On a forum. Tomorrow, the Great Lakes 4x4 forum that I'm on and that you're on, I found a set of tires that's like 10 miles from the work site that I'm at right now.
Nice.
I'm going to drive over there and take a look at them. I don't know if I'm going to buy them yet or not, but I think they're a pretty good deal. I'm going to go take a look at them and see if it's what I need.
That works.
So, that's just the beauty of it. So, really, I like forums. You like forums. Maybe we're just old, but, some of these younger listeners.
Never been called that before.
Well, that's, but some of our younger listeners, if you're not familiar with what a forum is, check some of them out. Maybe check out pirate4x4.com. Check out greatlakes4x4.com.
So there's one I'll throw a little shout out plug to. Great one, because we've talked about Project XJ a lot, and you mentioned your son's looking at one potentially. Yeah. Do it.
I think I know the one you're going to plug.
NAXJA.org. So it's the North American XJ Association. That's predominantly all they do are the XJ Cherokees, but the wealth of information and knowledge on that site is unreal.
Yeah, I'm on there. I don't remember what my username is because I haven't been on there since I owned an XJ, and I sold my last XJ about 5 years ago.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, it was.
A tremendous amount of information. There's a lot of different clubs on there too. You mentioned the buy, sell, trade stuff. Mm-hmm. There's one for the Midwest. I've bought a couple things through that one. I don't think I've sold anything through it, but I've sold a lot through Great Lakes 4x4 though.
Well, yeah, you have. I know you have. I've seen your stuff on there. The naxja.org. I got to give them credit, and the users of that board years ago. I was having a mechanical issue or electrical issue, a misfire issue with my 4-liter XJ, and I could not figure it out. And 2 separate shops that I took it to could not figure it out. I posted a thread on there. Within 15 minutes, I had 3 guys say, "Did you replace this?" Little doodad with the distributor. I don't even remember what it was. It might have been the coil pickup or something.
Nice.
And I'm like, "Well, no." And then I'm like, "But that doesn't make any sense for what it's doing." And they're like, "Just do it."
Yeah.
I went out, bought this like $30 part, threw it in there. Boom! I was running beautiful all again.
Nice. Very nice.
Wealth of information.
Oh God, yeah.
So. John, I know we're kind of getting to that time. I'm having a lot of fun with this episode.
Me too.
But, if you want to hear the continuation of this episode, quote unquote continuation, become a Patreon member. And
so we're going to continue this, I think, when we're done here for sure.
We are.
Oh, yeah.
Become a Patreon member and go to listen to the End of the Trail episode where you hear us talk for probably another 20 minutes or so.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you in a few.
All right. Sounds good, John.
Thanks for listening, and have a good one, everybody.